Remember the good times we had at the Star City Games $5,000 Open in Charlotte?
This is Evan Irwin live from Charlotte, and
Well, on May 9th through the 11th, Richmond, Virginia will be hosting the second Star City Games $5,000 Standard Open, along with 2 huge vintage tournaments, a new $2,000 Standard Tournament, and much more. The Magic Show will be covering all the action as it happens, so get yourself up to Richmond and I'll see you there.
This is Patrick Chapin. Welcome to the Magic Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. In this week's episode we dive headfirst into the new Shadowmoor spoilers, take a look back at Morningtide and what new additions it brought to the cube and more. Let's go! So with each new set beginning with Shadowmoor, we'll take a look at the previous set and see what cards are ripe for cubing. This amount of time delay allows us to see the, quote, real powerful cards in the set and how they've proven themselves in both limited and constructed in terms of power and efficiency. We'll take these additions by color in Wooburg order. The white additions are Revelark and Feud Killer's Verdict. For these two, you could argue that Feud Killer's Verdict isn't quite the powerhouse it could have been constructed, but in limited, it is a surefire beating. This is a card that will fit perfectly in the blue-white control archetypes and should be picked appropriately. Revelark, as we know, has reached all the way into vintage, and that's almost always a sure sign that it will find some love in the cube. This fits into almost anything playing white, and for those who love to splash, this is a definite splash-worthy card. Our blue additions come up to Vendilion Click. Remember, it's not the number of cards added, it's the quality, and Vendilion Click has certainly proven its quality after appearing in Patrick Chapin's Chase Rare Control version 2.0 Hyper Fighting Edition at Grand Prix Philly. It was an all-star for me last week when I played Kyle Sanchez's Wizards deck at the Star City Games $1,000 Open as well. Our black additions include Bitter Blossom. Oh, Bitter Blossom, how awesome are you again? So very, very awesome. This card has been seen in winning lists all over the place, and I fully expect it to hit extended quite hard after Invasion Block and Odyssey Block go the way of the dodo. This card's fantastic for a simple reason. It turns life into dudes. Dudes with evasion that never stop. Ever. Rawr. The red additions include Countryside Crusher, Torian Mauler, and Shard Volley. These guys are all kinds of awesome, and while Torian Mauler has found no constructed love, I think most will agree he's a limited powerhouse. Shard Volley adds yet another burn spell to the cube, and Countryside Crusher, well, he's a Prius, remember? He never runs out of gas. And in the aggressive archetypes you'll be drafting him in, that's just exactly what you're looking for. The green edition includes Chameleon Colossus. We're back to one edition again, but this one is a monster. From the first moment I saw him, I loved him, and Colossus has been rocking deck lists all over the world. His ability to dodge about 75% of the spot removal found in the cube is a definite plus, and he's a worthy early pick in a variety of aggressive archetypes. Fun, fun stuff. Lastly, we get the artifacts and lands, which includes Mutavault. Yes, you could see this one coming, but Mutavault is definitely going into the cube. As the second best mainland ever printed, he's been seen in winning deck lists for months and months and will remain incredibly potent for years to come. So those are your cube additions, folks. I know that 9 cards doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider how high the barrier of entry is for any card in the coveted cube, replacing 2% of those cards can be a challenge. If you want more information about the cube, what's in it, and what was removed for the cards added above, be sure to visit my personal cube drafting site, cubedrafting.com. Now, on to the spoilers. In this week's rundown, we have quite a spicy selection to choose from, so let's get started. First, I want to highlight the mechanic that was not spoiled by press time last week. Yes, Shadowmoor has a total of 4 new mechanics, not 3, and the last new mechanic is Conspire. Conspire's rules text reads, quote, "As you play this spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with it. When you do, copy it. Here is an example. Now, remember that you can only do this once, so if you have 6 creatures, you can't copy it 3 times. You may only copy it once. However, this is certainly a new limited bomb, as Steve Sadin correctly pointed out, one that is sure to bring a smile to your face if you open it during the pre-release. Moving on, the first card I want to highlight is the release promo that you can pick up in your local store during release events. Hold on to your hats because this one is just incredible. Okay, now that is some pure, unadulterated blue hate right there. This guy, all by himself, can completely blank counterbalance and could very well push it out of the extended metagame entirely. It's hard to explain just how good this guy is against anyone playing islands, but I think having the rules text of, quote, no spell you play for the rest of the game is getting countered seems pretty solid to me. In Extended, this means that red deck wins will probably be winning a lot more so, as its Blistering Firecats will always resolve with just a single extra mana, and if Tarmogoyf suddenly costs 3 mana instead of 2, I think you can deal with that as well. In that same vein, take a look at the other new red-green hoser, Guttural Response. Huzzah! Another wonderful spell that allows you to quickly negate your opponent's counterspell. To me, this says, quote, counter target cryptic command, but maybe it's just me. Between the two, it seems as though Shusher is the definitive choice, but at least there's a budget option for those less fortunate. Next up is the Mike Flores spoiled Fulminator Mage. Yeah, so he's incredible and will be a tournament staple for years to come. I know there are some doubters out there, but I think you have to think about 2 things. First, take a look at any recent top 8 list from any format and notice how every single deck has non-basic lands in it. And I mean every one. Even the Kithkin decks run Mutavault as they should. Secondly, Flores' column is for the spikes out there, and rarely do they give him a card that doesn't end up spectacular. Well, okay, maybe every once in a while. Let's take a look. In Morningtide previews, he featured Countryside Crusher and Mind Shatter. Not too shabby, as both of those cards were chased for a while, and Countryside Crusher has been seen in many a mono-red beatdown deck. In Lorwyn, there is no question he hit it out of the park each and every time. Cryptic Command is the best blue card printed in years, Silvergill Adept powers the Merfolk deck that just took 2 places in the top 8 of the Star City Games $1,000 Open, and Shriekmaw is one of the best creatures printed in a long, long time. For Future Sight, things weren't quite so cheery, as Glittering Wish has fizzled through time, but Pact of Negation still sees a lot of play. Planar Chaos had a hit in Harmonize, but a huge miss in Miri the Cursed, as the latter has been seen making more tournament tables level than on the tables themselves. We have to go back all the way to Time Spiral to find some real clunkers. For whatever reason, Wizards of the Coast R&D were absolutely convinced that Serra Angel was going to be a great creature, going so far as to make it the textless foil promo given away at States that year. He also previewed Magus of the Disc, who unfortunately died to Char and was generally too slow to ever matter. Ever. Lastly, he gave us the heart-stoppingly bad Tivadar of Thorn, a rare so ghastly I'm curious if R&D wanted to punk Mike instead of giving him something impacting and scary. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and call Fulminator Mage one of the best creatures to be printed in recent memory. He's going to be in all kinds of decks and will be destroying Mutavaults and dual lands for years to come. While he probably won't reach $20 bill status, he'll be pretty close. Speaking of official spoilers, I'd like to highlight what can only be called the best idea Wizards of the Coast marketing has come up with in years. The booster pack sent to several card shops around the country of Shadowmoor. Check out this cover sheet image. This was a marketing idea designed around embracing spoilers, even, quote, filler spoilers such as random commons and uncommons, and I will call this brilliant. Finally, somebody at Wizards of the Coast gets it. I'm astonished that this not only happened, but that they included the phrase, quote, please post your thoughts and photos on your favorite Magic forum. This is as close as we'll probably ever come to seeing the rumor mill legitimized, and to me it's a good day to be a Magic rumor mill junkie. This was fantastic. Unfortunately, the cards spoiled for it were not, but let's go find one more to close out the show with. Lastly, I'm going to detail the best finisher to come along for control decks in quite a while. Una, Queen of the Fae. I think we'll just call her Big Perm.
What's up, Big Perm?
This girl has it all. Not only can she go in mono blue decks, she can go in mono black decks alongside Corlash, and she could very well bring back Mystical Teachings decks all by herself. To those who doubt, let's take a look at the last incredibly powerful blue finisher, Moloku. For an additional mana, you get a 5/5 instead of a 2/4. Yes, Moloku required less colored mana. However, untapping with Una is almost certainly game over for your opponent, much as it was with Moloku. Thirdly, with Teferi, you can Mystical Teachings for Una, have a 5/5 dragon anytime you wish, along with a million effect that will be absolutely crushing in Limited. If there was ever a rare you wanted to open in Sealed or Draft, this is it. It's huge, it flies, it makes tokens, it mills your opponent's library. I think it's really hard to appreciate how powerful Una is, but when she begins showing up in control decks around the world, you'll soon figure out why she's so incredible. I repeat, untap equals win. Even Kakusho couldn't claim that. So that's the hotness this week, everybody. Next week we'll go over the last bastion of Shadowmoor spoilers, see where I'll end up for the Shadowmoor pre-release, and highlight any other oddities happening around the Magic populace. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.